Hello, Internet. This will be something a little different than what the gaming usual stuff we have going on here. We're going to work on the pumpkin for this year. I need to talk louder. So, last year, we did something like this. I guess I can look up here to see it. This is kind of what it would look like before. And these are artificial foam pumpkins. You can kind of hear how they are. They're called Funkins. I'll probably try to remember to put the link on what I'm doing below. If I do end up being able to put this all together. If I remember, that's what it looks like with no lights in it in the daytime. It looks better at the nighttime. If I can remember, I'll try to get like videos to splice into the middle of this, what it actually looks like. This is what they start out as, just a blank pumpkin. You can kind of see the thickness there of what I've got to work with. What I didn't show, because I tried prepping it a little bit, putting a hole in the pumpkin, we use a hot knife. Hot knife tool. This is what I've got. Use a hot knife tool and just trace the rim of just a plastic cup. Trace the rim into the bottom of it at a decent size. I guess this might kind of be like a mini review of these. I was kind of scared and skeptical on how I was going to use these, but they worked for what I was wanting. This project specifically for last year, I want to do like a four-sided rotating thing. I don't know if we can see it. You can kind of see it a little bit there, but I'm pretty sure they use two separate molds, and they use some sort of adhesive down the middle there. So this is the sides of the pumpkin. So if you are trying to do anything like this, you have to really work it and then be okay with it not looking super great with the adhesive down the center. I think that's my like one complaint, but that was a very ambitious project. So today we're not going to get into any of the cool stuff because I haven't done anything yet. So what we're going to be doing is using, I think my light's kind of blowing it out. The picture I've got, which is also top left of the screen, I think, is the project we're working on this year. So I have my printout for what I'm doing. Got some tracer paper. I'm going to be tracing outlines and lines onto my tracer paper. If you're a more skilled individual, you can freehand it. But I want to try to get as exact as I can. I'm going to put it on the tracer paper and then transfer the tracer paper onto the face of this pumpkin using charcoal. So I'll charcoal the back of my tracer paper where I have my trace lines and then place it on here how I want it and get it transferred. I'll try to go over everything that I am doing and using as I go. If anyone cares. Again, I didn't go to school for any art stuff. I enjoyed art in like high school, elementary, middle school type stuff. So I'm no professional at it. I do it for fun. I started with humble beginnings doing the cookie cutter full cutout of like, I think my first one was a Minecraft creeper face. So I've just started recently doing the shading technique to get the depth on the pumpkins. I think this will be my third one. So, what else do we got? I think that's it. Turn this light back on so I can see. And again, I'll probably try to show like 5 minutes of this, but sped up. To see how we're going. I need to make sure I don't. Here we go. But this is a good example where I'm doing. I know it's gonna be hard to see because you can't even see the pencil lines, but so I'm just doing a single line here because this is like where shading is going to change depth. But this here is an outline of an edge, so I'm double lining it because I'll end up sharpening it eventually. Okay, so for the most part, I think I have this how I want it. I've traced, and you may have seen some of it. I'll probably try to like get a 5 minute segment here and there and speed it up across, but trace it out on my tracer paper. I don't think I mentioned it in my like very short rambling intro. This is an emote, Twitch emote, voice up Warren, laceL. So that's our trace. I probably should have done a little bit more over here, but so this is what we've got. I guess I can get up. Make sure it's actually in camera. That's what I'm traced. So now the next bit is we'll reverse it. So we're on the back of the tracer paper now. And we're going to charcoal the back of all the lines that I just did. Some of the smaller lines I'll probably just do in the pencil again. Like the feet beans. But probably should have got a paper towel or something, but I don't remember which one I used last year. It looks like this one. This is a basic. I already forgot, but a basic sketch set tool, and it's a medium charcoal. Probably can't even see it with all the stuff, but when we're doing that, highly recommend getting some gloves, random plastic gloves. Charcoal will get everywhere. Everywhere. This part won't take as long, but you just gotta be particular on getting your charcoal on the lines that you just did. And this part shouldn't take as long. But again, you still just want to be precise because this is what you're going to use to transfer it onto the pumpkin. Or I say it's what I do. You can do whatever you want. You don't even gotta do. This is the back of the tracer paper that we just did. We charcoaled slash penciled it. You could probably use pencil as long as you press hard enough whenever you're transferring it over. Front, pencil, whatever. Back, charcoal, dark lines. So now, this will be a critical part. Take this. Hopefully I can get it to fit on here. Take the pumpkin. We'll take the tracer paper the right way so the charcoal's facing down. And you'll be laying it onto the pumpkin how you want. But you want to be precise on where you're putting it. So what I'm gonna do, what I'll do is I'll try to lay it out how I want with this. And then I'll put painter tape. I'll take small strips and just place on the outer edges of where my paper is going to be. That way I can try to fit the tracer paper in that slot and have it line up how I want it. Had to do a little bit of this off camera again. Because even trying to line up the printer, like I said, the printer paper and the tracer paper are two different papers. So even the tape markers that I didn't line up very well. And again, I'm not holding it straight and all that. But as you can see, whenever you get it taped on the spots that you want, or placed however you want, if you're not freehanding it, you've got these curls. So if you want to pinch them down to try to keep them in the right spots, we'll probably tape here. And then I will cut little triangle notches out that are here and probably up here and put more tape down to keep that in the right spot. So you try to keep the image from stretching or whatever whenever you're actually getting it placed on, so it more wraps around instead of stretches around. So kind of need more light over by me now. I'm gonna pinch. Ooh. And I did have some charcoal already rubbing off, so this just shows like you're gonna have some of it. But we're gonna pinch the corner down. Make sure it's where I want it. Tape the corner down so it doesn't move. And then where it folds up again, just do a little snippy snip. Need to be careful that I'm not scratching my pumpkin here. So we got that. Got a little corner out. So then now you can pinch the rest of this back down. So that now this part of the ear will be roughly in the right spot. And the same with this. Now I still got a very big spike here. And that just happens with how I've done it. I'm gonna do a little snip again. But whenever I'm transferring this specific section on, it'll end up like having a gap missing. And whenever, because it's got like the, I don't know what you call these on a pumpkin. It's got the little valley bumps, dips, whatever. Trying to trace down into that, you have to make sure you get in deep too, because you've got the paper tight. You may miss that while you're tracing it over, but as long as it's not a super complicated piece, you can just go back in and get it done easy. So I'm probably gonna go do the rest of this. Okay, so now we got this monstrosity on here. Again, these parts, that would be a little bit annoying to work around, but we'll make it work. We'll make it work. And again, even if you don't get it completely traced on, you can fix it up after you get the paper off. And a little line's easier than, oh, I didn't get this entire ear in the right spot. I got to do it. So what we're doing now, we're going to take a pin or some sort of very fine point spot. You could do like a pin that isn't pointed out and try to do it, but I'm putting Sharpie on my outlines anyway. Haven't got there yet, but Sharpie's going to go on the outlines, and then these parts they're gonna be shaded over, so it's not the worst thing if you get pin on it or the charcoal. But we're gonna go across all of our lines. We transfer our image onto the pumpkin. So we have pin traced our tracer paper onto the pumpkin. Like I said, some of these folds I was talking about earlier, I didn't get contact all the way across. So whenever I get this off, I'll have to connect those and make sure everything lines up. Some of it doesn't. And honestly, you don't necessarily have to have it perfect either. It's just a base guideline to help you get it on. So I'll try to hold it up here a little bit. Try to show it a little bit up close. So that is it transferred onto the pumpkin. I said you can tell the difference between the charcoal and the pencil that I did. It's a little bit more gray. And then this was one of the bad folds I had where the paper folded up to a point where I couldn't get it to connect. But that's just an easy single line to fix it. Some of the bit on the heart down there, that's where the seam, not a seam, but a valley of the actual natural pumpkin look hit. So I have to connect that together, but that's easy stuff. And then some of the smudges are from my hand hitting the pumpkin. That's just an easy cleanup, but that is where that's at. Back second day working on this. Yesterday we did the trace outline, transfer it onto the pumpkin. Today we're going to start the shading process. And with yesterday, after going through the VOD, I know the audio was a little scuffed. My whole setup here is scuffed. So apologize, but trying to do what I can. So for the shading bit, what we're going to be using is a little battery powered rechargeable, essentially Dremel tool. If I can show it, I mainly use like the rounded ball bit. This is I got one off Amazon. It comes with other pieces too. Standing bits I used last year. There's some pointed ones. I used the pointed ones a little bit to get into very sharp corners. And then this was another set of just additional sizes and shapes of bits that we picked up because after trying to grind through the adhesive last year, my good ballpoint one kind of just wore down so quick. So that was an issue with that. Other things that I will be using, needing for this part, eye protection, dust and fine particles from this are going to go everywhere. Eye protection is good, except for whenever it's super dirty. It'll also fog up quite a bit, so I may have to turn on like a fan or something in here. I'll probably have to take them off and clean them off. Eye protection, done. Bingo bongo. B, dust mask of some sort of variety. I would say this is a must. Last year I tried doing it without it for a little bit and got like the dust and whatever in lungs and it made it hard to breathe and throat was itchy, scratchy, whatever. So I'll be using this. You're not better than a mask. And the pumpkins themselves, I didn't mention it yesterday, but once you actually cut into them, the foam odor is very strong. We put them in a trash bag to try to get the odor out, but it just lingers forever. And then once you actually start cutting into them and shading, smell will be strong. So this will also be good. If you're doing it, you would probably want to be in a well ventilated area. Last year I had the door open. Don't know if I'm doing that this year or not. We will see. One other thing would be to have something to clean out what you're carving in so you can see what you're doing better. And air works wonders. And depending on how much you're doing, have a bunch on deck ready. Last thing that I can think that I will be using ear protection. While you're using Dremel tool of whatever kind. Especially the first year I did one, I used a very much larger one than this, and it was plug in. And how you position and sit with it, they will be loud. And if you are holding it like close to your face or ear, it will not sound very good for your ears. I had like just like the humming from the first one that I did because I did it for like 6 hours straight, 2 nights in a row or something. It made it harder to sleep. So I would just be using gaming headset with music playing. But like earplugs could probably work fine or ear protection of some sort. About all we got. So today, during the daytime, it's gonna be too bright. I'm not in a dark room to work on it. So I will be doing and mainly focusing on areas that I know I don't have to go deep on. So it'll mainly be the body parts here, and then maybe like the tail part over here, the darker parts. These parts I will barely take off the paint of the pumpkin down here. Especially this part's like super dark. This part's gonna be darker than this, so this will go deeper into the pumpkin. I might not go into any of the more detailed areas, depending on how long this stuff takes me. If it goes quick, I might start around the head parts because I know that's pretty close to what some of this is going to be, just a little bit deeper. But I won't do any of the white stuff until it's darker, so I can put a light in the pumpkin while I'm doing it and see how deep I'm actually getting. But that is the plan. Yeah, we'll probably start down here. And I don't know if you can tell, but again, I had to divide. So what I like to do is get as close to my dividing line as possible. Oops, my bad. Get as close to my dividing line as possible while I'm shading on both sides. And then whenever I have both sides done shaving, I will erase this part with an actual eraser so I don't like smudge the paint by just taking it off with the charcoal on. I'll erase it and then I'll like gradually level it out to itself and make them connect. And if you can even hear me, but so the paint is pretty thick. I don't know what kind of paint they use and the finish on it, but I don't know if you can see. You can kind of see it with the glare there. So what I like to do, especially on the parts that I know I'm barely willing to take any off, is I try to prep the spot first by just like scratching it up a little bit before I go all the way deep. So you can kind of see taking that off a bit there. But I'm gonna mute. I'm gonna turn on a fan because it is hot, and we'll keep working. I'll do that. I'll get to where there's like barely anything going here, and then work up here and do the same, but take off just a little bit more than down here. Keep forgetting on mute already. So I just trying to show it a little bit. I know I'm getting a big glare, but I've taken off a little bit of the paint on that bottom darker side. So I'm gonna go up to the top part of it, do the same thing, just a little bit deeper in, so showing less paint, but still showing some paint. And that's where we're at. But I just wanted to show it at least one time. This little crevice is being a pain. I'm trying to leave paint, but as you can see over here, it started taking more away than what I want. And I can't get it to do what I want over here yet. You can kind of see with the light in. That bottom little bit that's got more paint scratch still. Oh, it's getting like super blown out, but it technically looks darker than the feet that I've or the around the feet that I've got done. So I may go over that bottom part a little bit. And again, it's you're barely going to be able to tell the difference because there's still a bunch of just normal light out right now. Could have showed the toes on camera. Would it update? So that's that one. This one. That one I didn't get as close to some of them, but I went further in than I wanted to around those two. This might be. Oof. Yeah. So we got closer to the ridge there, and it's a little bit further than what I wanted. That's fun. Yeah. So that's getting the paint off a little bit. Of course, I'm blocking my main light source, so. And I took off a little bit too much paint here. So I gotta try to even it out with this. Okay. I think these are kind of how I'm gonna have them. I need to try to smooth this one out a little bit to match that over there, but. So this is the progress that we made this session. Again, it's gonna be hard to see in the light. It's better to see in the dark. I'll grab the light real quick afterwards, but later tonight, in a couple hours, we will start working on some of the stuff that's more visible, and we'll actually see the progress. But yeah, we get the little toe beans. It probably won't focus. There's a little focus. But yeah. Hopefully I can clean those up a little bit better whenever I actually shade the beans because they're not staying painted. Yeah. Back on the second day, but at nighttime, we're gonna do some of the parts that I need to be able to see my depth a little bit more, which is basically all I have left to do. So there's gonna be a lot more nighttime stuff. I think tonight we're gonna try to do the head part here. I thought about doing all the whites to get the depth I need there, but if I can do the orange head part a little bit and probably the tail, I can probably get the tail in at the same time if I have enough time because this is a big chunk. Uh, Once I get the depth I know I want this at, I can go and get deeper on the white parts easier. So, uh, goal is to get the head done tonight. If I can do these tail parts and then maybe the toes, but I might wait to do that. I wanted to show if I can get it. You know, my camera is probably gonna get blown out by it, and it looks different off camera anyway. So I have a one light in here. We'll see if it needs the second one. Turn the brightness up a little bit here and block the bottom so we can kind of see what we're getting so far. This part of the pumpkin seems to be pretty thin, and that is like the valley you can already see that it's shaped weird anyway. That looks like it's almost all the way through. So there's nothing I can really do about that. But this is going to be the darkest part, so I have to get this the next darkest, or the next lightest. And then the white would be the whitest. The mouth is a little bit different than the head. And I think that's about it. I'm like 99% done. I have to switch bit. So I'm going, before I switch bit, I'm going to do my once over, just to like try to get some of the bumps out and make sure all these paint bits are off, so it's close to the same depth. So we have done the first good clean passover of the main part of the face. I just covered it up and didn't even show it, but I wanted to lock in for it. So on the image itself, there's some shading, like shadow here. There's a little here. There's a little bit on the top fluff of the head, under the ear there. So I lined them out to try to make sure I don't accidentally hit it while doing my next pass over to start going deeper in, so I can still have that shadow look for it. But now we'll probably be in the dark for most of this, and I will go over all this again, going deeper and having a light on the inside to see how deep I'm going. The only bad thing's going to be is that some parts of the pumpkin are thinner than others on their own. So it's not going to be perfect, but so this is the top of the head after doing the clean passover and whatnot. I'll turn the light off so you can see it a little bit better. And again, my phone camera is not going to be super great and it's going to be blown out. It's not going to do it any justice. But it's a little bit lighter than the body at the bottom. And that's what we're going for. You can still see some of the shading there. I said I was going to do the tail and whatnot over here. I think I'm doing the white dots above the eyes just because I want to see how deep I can actually go in the pumpkin so I can feel better about it. Try to get a gauge of the depth. So what we do for this is we're going to start in the center of the ball and slowly rotate our way around and expand out and then keep going deeper until I start seeing more white than the yellow color. And then we'll level it out and sand it down and make it look good. Okay, so that's kind of like one hole would be. Again, it's getting blown out. That's not all the way through. I can turn on a light real quick to show it. So you can get a little bit more of the yellow light through it. So it is closer in. So we're gonna do that on the other one. I kind of messed it up a little bit. And I'll probably just try to sand down around. Like sand down around here. But yeah, that's where we're at. Probably a big jump here. I did the second white dot in the top of the head. So they both look like that now. I don't know if that's as deep as I'm gonna go, but that's as deep as I went for the time being. I think I need to fix the left one because I kind of did it a little weird this time. I'm not sure, but you can see there's more light coming through that there than there is anywhere else. I also did another passover on the head, so there's a little bit more light coming through. You can see the shadow part's a little bit better now. I'll have to go in some of those small spots, with my smaller bit to trim them up to make them look better, but we're getting there. I'll turn off my lights and show it. I hope it'll look a little bit better at a distance. Then there is light coming out of the bottom, so you do still want to close up the bottom to make sure you're trapping in all the light. So that's going to be kind of how it looks right there. Yeah, not bad. And again, I don't know where the lights are sitting in there, but the lights are facing directly at the art right now. They're going to be at the bottom shining up, so it's not going to be as prominent over here. Back to put in another session. This is where we stopped last time. I kind of want to get to cooking on this, so we're gonna do the ears. I think tonight. I thought about doing the cheeks. So I think we're gonna try to do the ears tonight. Maybe I start on the cheeks. Cause I know that should be quick. And it'll get me warmed up. We'll do the cheeks first. That shouldn't take no time. This is a lighter part, so I have to go deeper, just like the dots I did the other night. This is on the more front face of the pumpkin, so it's not as thick as what up here is. So I just went over a little bit at a time, so it took multiple hits at it. I might try to go one more layer deeper, but that's kind of the look that we're going for. It actually shows up on camera pretty well there, so it's a lot lighter than the head, so the head looks more orange now. This looks more white. So I may hit this again, may hit those again, but I'll wait till later to do that. We're gonna do the other cheek now. Did the Passover on the second one, the second cheek fluff. I'll have to do a little bit of work on that bottom corner again. I had to switch bits for it. Go a little bit closer there. That bottom left corner, I got to work on a little bit. That one was a little bit more annoying because I think it was in a thicker part of the pumpkin compared to this one. This one took less passovers, and I mean they're close to the same color. On camera, you can't tell the difference. This one's still technically a little bit darker, so I should go through that one a little bit more. But I think I'm gonna leave them there until I go in and round off these dark parts because they will not be staying. I just leave them there as reference so I don't forget where I'm at whenever I come back to it another day. But they'll round off and like gradually go into the next color. But it's gonna show it as well. Flashbang out. So since this was a smaller spot, it's very hard to get into. I kept having to rotate and like try to get closer. So what I did with the bit, I'm actually gonna turn on the big light. So on the one that I have, it's got the button to release the bit, to twist the black tip off. And the bit is that long. So what I did is that this is the bit all the way down in. But if I needed to get further in without hitting the edges of what I'm working on that black part, I lose my grip. So got the button pressed in. So I stuck the bar, the bit out a little bit further. This is a little bit too far because it's a little bit wiggly. You don't want it to go flying out, but that's why I did to get it to go a little bit further, so it could get you a little bit extra range. Got those bits a little bit taken care of. Like I said, I got to work on that bottom part. Looking at it now, I actually got to work on that corner a bit too, but they're cut out. So what time is it? I think we got a little bit of time. I want to try to get at least the lightest part of the ears cut out. So it'll be this part up through here. And I think technically the inner part could go as well. I may wait to do that because I think there's shadows on those too. But I want the outer ear parts to go. So that's what we're going to work on now. So also looking at my picture now, I don't know if it'll show up on stream here. I'll try to pull as close as possible. So on these ears, there's actually a shadow part right at the top of the head here. So I think I'm going to try to leave that in as well. So I'll probably leave that paint right now and just find a spot and start going over. And I'll have to switch bit around here because this is so thin. got the second ear done, of course, because I didn't do lines like I do on everything else to make sure I know what I need to do, where I'm doing. So I set out a guideline to do the little shadow from the tuft of his head on the ears. There's like a little bit here. I pointed it out earlier. Well, I forgot to do it over here. So I wasn't going to have just one. So we had to take it out. Little mistake. Of course, I'm doing this at 1 a.m. So brain's a little fried. And I was just kind of going. But at least it wasn't like a major important part. If you didn't know that the shadow was there, you probably wouldn't even notice. But of course, I did shadow here. So now there's no shadow there. I don't know. It kind of sucks. Nothing you can do about it. Again, with pumpkins, if you mess up, it's gone. And I went too far and couldn't fix. So I just had to take out the other one. Again, not the end of the world, but that's okay. Let's turn off the light so you can see the end product of the night. Also, kind of like got a laptop over to the side, so it's probably giving some light too. But again, my camera doesn't do it justice. But now that we've got a little bit of different variety of shading going on, you can see it coming together. There's still some soulless eyes there, so we have to do that at some point. And the mouth is still blocked out, but it's cooking. I'll probably have to work on the body a little bit too, because it all kind of looks the same. But the head's the main focus, and it's looking pretty good, at least from what I can see on this camera. So there we go. Yeah. We've had a little bit of tech difficulties getting started tonight, but this is where we're at. And I don't have settings open. This is where we were at. Last time we worked, we did the ears, the light parts of the ears. You won't be able to see because I don't have the light on, and I'm already behind, so I'm not going to turn the light on. But I tried taking an eraser to my sideline here. I want to try to get the other parts of the ear done tonight, and then we may start on the snout if I have enough time. We'll see. Anyway, to work, especially since I'm behind. Show it real quick. And I can't see past my settings. We'll turn them off real quick. So I took this down a little bit. We'll turn off the light real quick. just gonna show it the one time. So got a little bit shadow of the ear there. It's further down than the head. Might be kind of hard to tell on camera. It's a little bit lighter. But now we're gonna do the inside tuft of the ear. There's a black outline that goes throughout here. And the inside the tuft is bright white again. So we gotta take this part down the same amount as this. That'll be one ear done. Now that I have more space here, I was taking the tool and getting a little bit deeper in this corner here. But yeah, we'll take this down and they show it real quick. And then we work on the other one, match it up. So here's our ear. I'm not super happy with it. I might have to do another pass over it. It looks better on camera because it's so blown out. That's kind of where we're at with it. In the color correction, it finally pops in. You can see the different shade colors there. Apparently, I got really deep on that corner. So I could technically go deeper on this, but that's the ear, and we're gonna do the other side real quick. so the ears are down. You can see that one a lot better. That's like how that one looks on camera. I think I took that one down too far. Then there's also not a whole lot of shadow there. But that's kind of where we're at. I think and again, camera's blown out. But I think I need to take the inside of that ear down a bit. Better, I need to turn the lights up to make it shine out more. These ear spots are super annoying, especially the inner part because it's surrounded by stuff that I can't carve out at all. So I just can't get my tool in there to really dig deep how I want to. And it just takes a lot of precision to do it. And it's taking a lot out of me. And then the tech issues that are where I'm kind of out of it. And I messed up a couple times on this ear going through there. So I'm not gonna do the mouth or anything tonight. I might do this tail spot down here because I think that's gonna be pretty easy. I planned on doing that tomorrow midday, but I can do the tail, I think, at least. It's gonna be the same color as the head there, so I don't have to go through very much. But I am gonna take like maybe a 5-minute break. Just walk around and I need to plug my phone back in and all that. Let's see. So I did that first ring of the tail. The camera can try to autofocus it. You can tell the paint on the middle ring kind of makes it look a little bit darker. I may need to do another pass over on it still to try to get the match the head a little bit more. But it's pretty close. I think it looks too much like this, and this is the part that I had issues with where just paint was not super thick on it. So I may do one more quick pass over, and then I'll do the end of the tail there. did the tail parts there. They look pretty solid. The ears, I think, need a little bit of work. It's just they are a very painful spot to do. I did not like doing them, and again, kind of what I was dealing with tonight. I don't know how much I wanted to do that. I think on this one, I want to go a little bit deeper on the white part to try to fix some of this, but I may do some work tomorrow midday on getting this set up, the big heart. It's like the other main focal point that I got to do. But then what we have left, we've got the eyes, which are going to be about as painful as this. Not as bad, I don't think, because it doesn't have any big blocks I need to keep. The snout, the tiny spot on the mouth, the toe beans that I still need to do, which shouldn't be horrible because they don't have to be perfect. And then clean up some of this down here. And then my shading lines, which I might try to do tomorrow midday as well. I may warm up with that. I think I'm gonna be done for the night. A little bit shorter than what I planned and expected to do. I don't want to overdo it neither. Do what I'm doing. The tail actually looks pretty good on camera there. It kind of wraps around here, so this spot was a little curved, but it's still good. So that's where we're at, and we'll jump back in later. Little midday / afternoon carving session. So I had questions about it a little bit. If we can see them here, so I've left lines in between my shading spots there, a little bit on the cheek fluff. There's technically some on the darker orange spots here, but I haven't done the snout yet, so it's not there. Down at the bottom, so I used that to make sure I had guidelines of where my shading would change on a similar spot. And people were wondering why I left them. So today, I'm actually going to take the time to take some of those out. So I can't see it here, or my graphite, charcoal, whatever is still on there. So I'm going to take the eraser off of this, because if I don't erase it, uh, it'll smear onto what I leave, and it'll just look dirty and nasty. And I don't want to do that. So I'll take the time to erase some of the spots and shade it down and gradually transfer it over to the other color or depth. And then today we'll also try to start working on this heart piece. So this is a big centerpiece that we've got. The plan is, I haven't tested it at all, so I don't know how it's going to look or turn out. Hopefully it'll be fine. But we're going to go in a little bit on this heart, and then we're going to leave like a small, I don't know what you want to call it, but like a bevel around the entire inside of the heart. And then we're going to take some little tinted plexiglass plastic type pieces, and we're going to slot them in to the spot. So I need the little bevel thing to hold it so it doesn't fall all the way through. And then we'll have the rest of that fully cut out. You can kind of see here, this doesn't exactly fit. So I need to get it cut out so I can try to start slotting this in. And I'll need to sand this down to make it be able to fit. And hopefully, ideally, this has got like a little purple hue. Hopefully, it'll glow a little bit more purple with these. And I have multiple of them. have multiple of them to try to layer the color to have more color pop through if necessary. I don't know how thick that is, so that's what we have to get through. I probably won't cut completely through that today because I don't know how thick it is. I don't know if I want to be using my Dremel tool to do all that. So might try to do the hot knife for that, and I probably will not. If I do use the hot knife, I probably won't do that on camera because I know YouTube probably wouldn't like it. Twitch would probably be okay, but just to be safe, and I don't want to have to try to be managing all that with the hot knife too. So, but yeah, at least get it carved out so we can start slotting that in. I can start standing on those to get them to fit because they need to fit. Just to show the method to the madness a little bit here. So that is me taking off the line that I leave here. Can't have it too close or it won't focus. So I took that line down. I made it to where I left the paint like I did before. So I didn't have to go all the way. And then I rounded the edges a little bit so it won't be as a sharp um, shade change whenever there's lights in it. It's bright out right now, so I won't be able to tell. But I know leaving the paint, I know how it's going to kind of look. I cleaned up around my lines up here a bit. Closer to the end, I'll probably do that again, just around the entire pumpkin. But so I probably won't pause to show the rest of these, but I'm going to do that line. These ones up here, they'll be a little bit different because I need to match the depth of the head coming in here. There's technically these lines here that would match the orange. If I feel like it, I might do those at the same time. It's just going to be a little different than doing these because this will have to get cut down all the way and I have to match the depth and not leave paint. So technically that would be something that I could do at night to make sure I do it right. But if it's not exactly the same depth, then I can gradually trim it down. Doing this will also help fix some of these spots that I have. This spot here, very tight corner, so I couldn't get in all the way. But whenever I get this taken out, I can trim down the rest of that and make it look how it's supposed to. But I figured I'd shoot that one time, and I'll do the rest. So I've taken out those lines now. That one's a little bit painful, and I don't know how much I like it, but it's there. And then these up here, I left a little bit extra because again I'm doing it at daylight. I took down the paint a little bit just to get it started, but I will wait till a nighttime session to more color match it with the light inside the pumpkin. But I eyeballed it as much as I could and tried to match the depth. I just don't want to go too far and have to either rework one or the other. But those are there. I still have these to do, but I'd rather get the snout down first before I do those. And that's another nighttime thing. So now we will probably try to start working on getting the heart section out. So I have taken out a little bit of the heart, got the paint off, and did like a layer, sanded down, leveled a bit, kind of tightened up the lines there because these need to be pretty accurate. But I am going to be running into a problem solving thing that I need to do here because I'm going to be in uncharted territory. So the plan is, like I said, to take however many of these pieces I have. I don't think I mentioned it. These are some sort of Amazon, like, tinted plastic plexiglass type thing. They came in sheets, and thanks to my dad, I have some cutouts of this shape that I need. So these need to fit in here, which they are kind of close. Still a little big, so I need to sand them down maybe. But they are that thick per pane that I have. So I'm to have them sit in and not fall completely through. I was gonna leave like maybe the width of my bit of a ledge just on the inside of my outline for them to sit on. But I don't know how thick I need to go. And I don't know how thick I have to work with. And another issue I'm gonna have is that the pumpkin's not completely flat. I can try to hold it there. So there's a big knot through here, and there's a big dip here where my heart is. So depending on how far I want to set these back, recess them back into the pumpkin, and how far I can actually go, I need to decide whether I want there to be potentially a lot of dark pain from them sitting super far back on the dark part, or do I want potentially light coming through if I don't recess them super far back and have the dip have a potential gap, or the pane plastic thing be further to the front of the pumpkin there than it would be here, because it's not all flat. So I'll have to do some thonking about that, but at least it's kind of there. And my thought process of having at least how deep, once I make up my mind on what I want to do, I'm going to have smaller parts that will be used later. They're going to dot around the sides of the pumpkin, like the animated images. But I'll take this and figure out how deep it needs to go by setting it in, since this can actually fit in, and just go however deep that needs to go. We can see a little bit there that it's got a ways to go still. The easiest way to start would probably be down here. So yeah, it's got to go a bit, but I don't want to make rash decisions and not like what I'm doing with it, so I'm not going to do that right now. And I think I'll probably just call it for now. I don't have a whole lot to do during the daytime. But like I said, at least I've got that down, and I can sand it down more if I want to whenever. It'd probably be easier to do with a light on the inside to see how deep I am. Now, like I said, I'll probably use my biggest bit, but I'd probably use the size of the bit and have that be my little ledge that the panes would sit on so they don't fall all the way through. So then from there all the way around, I would cut completely through and have that be the majority of the light coming through to be the bright part of the heart. Back again, we're going to try to do the white around the snout. And if we have the time, we're going to try to do the mouth a little bit. See how much we can actually get done. I'm starting a little bit early. And like I did before, these spots around the cheeks, I might try to sand those down a little bit to match the color now that I'm doing stuff at night. We'll see how much we can get them. I know the eyes are going to be a pain spot now with this black line around. That'll be one of the last things I'd probably do. And we still have the toes down there to do. And I may end up working on the heart depth thing a little bit off stream. It's just going to be me sanding this down over and over again anyway, so there's no point in watching it, but So I put some work in on the snout there. On camera, it matches up pretty good. It's not technically as far deep because I think it's a deeper part of the pumpkin, but it matches up pretty good. I need to like sand it down a little bit better, especially in that bottom part, because again, it's surrounded by stuff that can't be carved out. But it's not too bad. I may try to work on the mouth next just to get the light coming through there, but I have to take a break. I'm actually in some very bad pain, so I'll see if I can get to working on that anymore or not. I'm gonna try to do the mouth part. And the lighter part of the mouth thing, I'm gonna try to color match to this. I'm gonna try to leave a little bit of the shading in around the upper part. We may try to get it just a little bit deeper than this. Okay. This is how we're looking now with the mouth cut out a little bit. I may trim the inside of the mouth because I think my outline's gonna end up being too long or too thick. I think I need to make it thinner. And then I might need to do a pass over to go a little bit deeper on everything I did tonight. But I think I'm gonna be done. We're hurting a bit, so we'll have the eyes left and the toes and the centerpiece, but we're almost done. Okay, we're gonna do a little nighttime sesh here. I don't think we'll go super long. I'm gonna try to do the feet pads there, and I've got a little spot underneath that arm that I haven't done. We'll see how long that takes me. I might try to start working on the eyes there. I know that's a lot of work to do. I don't want to mess it up. The toes and whatnot there, I think is going to be like the same color as the mouth, the lighter part of the mouth. And that may still need to go a little bit deeper. And we'll just grind on them and see what we can do. So here's our toe spots. That first one I did, pretty solid. Second one, it's on a thicker part of the pumpkin, so I had to go deeper than what I felt like I should have been needing to go, but that's just how it is. And it's like kind of off to the side, so it doesn't look as good, but it still works out for what it is. I also did that little chunk there that I missed and forgot to do multiple times. But next up, we have the eyes to do. The color keeps like super washing out for some reason. I wanted to get those toes done, and it allowed me to like clean up around them too, so looks a little bit better. I actually missed a spot a little bit up there. I think I could take out, but yeah, we'll see if we do any eyes tonight. If not, it'll be another night. I think I have decided to try to start on working on the eye parts in this session too. So we have a few different things going on here. I can see if I can try to get it to not unfocus. That's about as best I can do. So this part here, I have two splits. The top part is a very dark brown, so almost the same as this, if not the same. The bottom part is a little bit lighter brown, so it's about the same as the mouth, a little bit different maybe. So I'm gonna try to color match those as best as possible. And then depending on how much I can cook tonight, these bottom, up and top and bottom dots are glares, so they're gonna be all white. Don't know if I want to bother with doing those tonight because they're gonna be a pain. And then this crescent shape on the side is all white, and I have to leave this solid black. So that side's gonna be very painful, and it's gonna be the last thing I decide to do. We're gonna try to do these dark and light browns tonight. At least on one eye, we'll see how long it takes. We might try to do both. So this is the work on the eye that I did tonight. Hopefully I'm not blowing it out. My mic has been all over the place. But that's what the eye is going to kind of look like. The dark brown kind of looks too much like the top of the head. It's a little different. But I do like how good the light brown to dark brown looks. And then the white dots for the glares are okay. I kind of rushed them a little bit, and they're very small spots. I'll zoom in a little bit. You see it a little bit there better. I need to work on the top dot a little bit, but that's what they look like. So we've got some life behind the eyes now. We still have the white part to do on the outer eye around here, and that'll brighten them up a bit. And then the Sharpie being there will help out as well. But that's that. That's the progress we had. We are very close. We have the one more eye left to do, the outer eyes. I still have the lines on the dark fluffs, and then the hearts that I'm gonna have to do some work on, and I will probably end up doing a good chunk of that work off stream. We start again, nighttime session. We're going to be probably starting and doing the eyes that we did last time, just to copy them over. And then, as long as I don't get in major pain and I'm doing good on time, we're getting the side crescent shape white part of the eyes out, and that will technically be everything needed to be shaded and sand down. One thing that is new that I did off camera today is I added my little side hearts around the side. So I've got two on each side to try to mimic the animation of the emote. I didn't want to go crazy with them because they were apparently very annoying to cut out, and they were annoying to trace and freehand. I had to freehand the outer outline, and I messed it up one time and did it too thick and trimmed it down a bit, and that's what we're at. And I will say, depending on how far I get tonight again, I'm hoping this is the last one of the night sessions. And for safety purposes and concentration purposes, getting the center heart out and then these side hearts now. Part of them will be getting fully cut out, and I'll probably be using hot knife tool for that. I think that's probably gonna be the easiest way to do it. I don't want to do that on stream, so just in case. Um, Unfortunate, but I'd rather do it that way and be careful with it. So there might be a big jump cut after tonight of getting everything in place. But yeah. we had some tech issues, and they're probably still ongoing. But I tried getting those parts of the eyes done, and the color's getting blown out again. But uh, the left eye kind of looks good. Besides the white parts, they need to go a little bit deeper, especially that bottom one. But that's a thicker part of the pumpkin on the left side compared to the right side, so you can see more white showing in the dark brown part of the eye on the right one. That's just kind of where it was thinned out when it was made. But they're pretty close. They're manageable. There's actually soul there. So now we're going to do those crescent shapes on both sides. I don't have the light on, but it's these parts here. I'm probably just going to do them both back to back. I need to. I'll end up making a full pass over and like trimming and fixing some things that I notice. I need to fix these spots here, I think. But yeah, that is one part of the white eye. This spot is so annoying. I'm probably blowing out the mic, I'm sorry. This spot is so annoying to try to get into, especially this corner here that I can't show on camera because I'm a peg. But that bottom corner right there is so hard to get into. I switched 3 different bits to try to get that. I think it turned out all right. So these are eye spots. I made an audible on this one. So on the still that I took, there's the black line ended at this white glare, but I don't really like how it looks, how it is. So I left a little bit there to try to combine it. I kind of nicked it a little bit here, but hopefully I can get a Sharpie to cover it a little bit to try to match. But I just didn't like it like not connecting because it was gonna go all the way up. But that's kind of where it looks. We've got personality in the eyes now. It brings a lot of it together. Sorry if I'm blowing it out. On camera, you can't really tell with the color settings or light settings we've got, but everything on the left side is on a big knot compared to the right side, which is on a pretty thin spot. So a lot of the white spots in person on the right side look like they're deeper than the left. So I may have to go in and do some work on the left side. And I'll probably do a pass over real quick of some of the stuff. But that's pretty much the shading part. All of the main stuff is carved and cut out. The next time that I do this, I'll probably do some work in the daylight. I will get those heart spots cut out. I say cut out, not actually cut out, but sanded down, kind of like how I have the big heart. It'll make it a little bit easier for me to do what I'm gonna be doing with it later. Um, I have these spots that I still need to take out. And then, like I said, tonight and maybe a couple nights during the week, I will just like do a once over and get everything kind of how I would clean it up a bit. And then we'll also be doing the Sharpie tomorrow. I don't remember if I said that or not. But I'll get the hearts sanded down a bit like this, and then I'm gonna do the Sharpie. So all the outlines, all the dark spots, we will be sharpieing. And then that's pretty much it besides what I'm doing for the hearts. I'm going to work again. I did some stuff off camera. I just rounded off some of my outlines to make them not look as jagged and have the extra paint. I did finally get these side paints down on the dark cheek fluffs. But today I'm just going to be sanding the hearts down, the small side hearts. I just do all four of them back to back without showing them. I'm just going to sand them down kind of like this one is so I can work on it easier off camera. I'll show that process a little bit at least. And then we'll be doing Sharpie after. Tech issues again, but we're cooking now. I sanded out the centers of those 4 hearts. I've just barely touched them. So what I have, these are the same material as, it's probably not going to focus. Same material as the other. They still have a film over top of them. So they're like not super clear, but I'll take the film off. But these will fit and slot in right there. There you go. My finger, of course. But it's going to slot in there. I have to sand down a little bit on them to get them to actually fit. You can kind of see how thick they are. So I need to get at least that thick down in all of these heart holes. I'm not going to worry about doing that on the video, but I'll do it here. Is a toothpick layered with different colors. So that's how thick each layer of those hearts would be if you just stack them. So I have 2 of the little ones just in case if I need more color. I have 4 of the big ones. The goal will be to sand them down to at least 1 or 2, however depth I want, and then around the heart inside, I'll have some sort of level part to hold them in place because they're probably not going to fit perfectly snug as long as I don't sand them down too small because I have to sand those hearts down to get them to actually fit properly as well. And then we'll be cutting out on the inside of that line to have the actual hole to get the light to come through all the way and hope that it looks okay. Took the time to sand those down a little bit so they're a little bit deeper now. They probably still need to go a little ways. I'm going to leave them be for now. Now I want to get my Sharpie on, so all my outlines are going to be black. Try to make it pop a little bit. And it'll help it in the daytime a little bit to make it not look so awkward. So to do that, I just use some big boy Sharpies. You can probably use, and it might be better even to use like paint markers. But I use what I know works, so I will take this and just go around all my lines. Some of the lines I'll have to like go around one edge and then flip it around and go around the other edge to combine the two. Because I don't want to go super crazy. Because I don't want to mess any of this up. for about 2 hours, just about 2 hours. We got the Sharpie done on my outlines, make all the black pop. I purposely did not do my side hearts here because I just want to make sure that I have the room to still be able to sand down into those since these are smaller spots compared to the big one. We'll have some work to do there. I also, where did I do it? I did it there between the heart and the cheek. I left a slight gap because I figured it might look weird if they were all connected. And I did the same up here with my eye spot. Don't know if it'll make much of a difference, and I don't know if I'm even going to like it. I'll have to look at it for a little bit before then. But yeah. Sharpie's done. The next time I will probably be getting these in. But I probably, like I said, won't do that on stream because I need to focus and be outside and hot knife and don't want to hurt myself or anything else while doing that. So since I'm not streaming this part of it, just in case I want to use it for the video, I figured I'd do like a little progress update. So I've been sanding down these heart spots, and I've got holes cut in 2 of them, and this is what they would look like middle progress. I got the depth I wanted for 1 heart, and then I made my outline for the wedge piece to make sure that these can kind of fit snug in. I can get it out, can kind of see there. I don't know if it's necessary or not, but I wanted to have it there just in case. And then all of these little purple heart pieces, I've had to sand down the sides to make sure it can actually fit in and has the right shape for my holes. And these have taken about an hour a piece, and they are very painful to do. Just slowly grinding away at one spot, trying to get it to fit. But there's that. Now it's daylight right now, so I can't show it, but the purple effect doesn't really show with the lights in it, unfortunately, like I was wanting to. There's one in there now. We tried looking with multiple lined up on top of each other. It looks a little better, but not much. So I'll probably still try to at least get multiple layers for the side hearts, probably 2. And then the big heart I haven't cut out yet, but I'm hoping that I can get 3 or 4 of them in that. And I gotta sand all those down too. That's where we're at. Another little update, since I've been doing stuff off stream. I have the big heart, 2 layers deep of my plastic heart pieces, and they fit in there kind of snug. So that's how they fit. They don't fit exactly how I want. They stick out a little bit over here and then quite a bit down here, but they don't fall out, so we'll take it. I have my small hearts left to do to get 2 layers thick. They're only 1 right now, so I have those 4 to do, and then Sharpie would be done. Have the little rim around that's holding these in place. That's a little thick in some places, so I need to trim that down a bit too to make it not show as much pumpkin on the inside of the heart. But we're very close. So the next part will probably be showing it on stream with all the hearts and everything in, and then I'll have a picture of the final with me trying to do some camera magic and lighting magic to make it look as good as I can with what I've got to work with, as I don't have any more smaller hearts to put in the sides, so those can only be too thick. I technically have bigger hearts I could do more, but I don't have a whole lot more room to go deep. I also don't want it to look much different than the other hearts, so I think I'm only going to do 2 and just try to make it look as good as I can with lighting and camera settings. We'll see what I can get, but that's that. A little snippet here of having all of the hearts and stuff in place. I have 2 layers of the hard plastic plexiglass in, and the color doesn't really show through very well. So we ended up putting purple tissue paper in between the pieces. But this is what it kind of looks like in the daytime. I have to wait till it's darker, and I'll try to get a short clip of it in the dark with the lights in before I get the pictures for the final product. We're down here at nighttime. I have a little ring light on in the background right now to show that this is actually the pumpkin, show the bright orange. I will turn it off now to try to show more of the color and shading, because with the light on in the background it kind of washes it all out. So that's how it looks like with the video camera settings that I have on now. It's still kind of losing some of the shading color that I did, and I have one bright white light in there and the other one is a bright purple color to try to mix and match to get the combination that I need of the shading pop and then also the purple color. Now some of these hearts on the side are like on the ridges and facing outward, so it's kind of hard to see that they're actually hearts, but you can spin it in a different direction and see them from slightly different angles. And then if I were to move the camera a little closer, the light will start to like blow out the camera, and the shading will get a little off. It's still not that bad, but I'll get better still single pictures and put at the end here, but I just wanted to show a video of how it looks with that. It's kind of purple. You can see the reflection off my hand. It's purple there. It's just blowing out the camera, but that is it. After roughly 57 hours of hands-on working time, here are the final pictures that I took. Now my phone camera really doesn't do it justice, and I was fighting the lights blowing out the color and still having enough light to show the shading details. So I took multiple pictures with different settings and lighting, and these are about the best I could get with my phone. The left side showing more of the purple color I was wanting to get out of the heart spots, the right showing more of the quality of the shading that I got from actually shading down and sanding down the pumpkin itself. Mix both of these together, and it's kind of what it looks like in person. I ended up only using 2 panes deep worth of my purple pieces, and didn't really have enough space behind that to get more panes in comfortably. And that still wasn't getting the color pop I was hoping for. So the DIY fix I ended up doing last minute was grabbing some lavender color tissue paper, cutting those down to my heart shaped sizes that I needed, and putting 2 layers worth of that in between each sets of the panes to get more color. Now doing this, I did lose some of the stained glass clearness I was liking from the panes themselves, and the cloudiness of the tissue paper shows through more. But for a short-term trade-off, that's something I was willing to do. And the benefit of having artificial pumpkins, I get to keep them long-term, so I can always make adjustments or find better alternatives for these whenever I want and fix them in the future. A couple shoutouts at the end of this long video. Sorry, I didn't expect it to be as long either. Whether you watched the entire video or you played it in the background while you're doing other things, jumped around to specific progress points, or even just skipped to the end entirely to see the final product, thank you for taking time to check out this passion project of mine. I really appreciate it. Now there's a couple links in the description. Firstly, to the Funkins website, where I started getting my artificial pumpkins. They work great for what I try to do. Just don't buy them all out before I can get mine, please. Secondly, this emote was one of laceL Warren's many Twitch emotes. A special shout out to her and her community for keeping me inspired and motivated to do these. Best community that I've been thankful to call my internet home for over 10 years. 10 years? Jeez. Much love, TZKT. Thirdly, anyone stop by my stream to watch progress live. I know my setup was scuffed, and I struggled with some tech issues, but hopefully it was worth it. Lastly, to my parents for putting up with me trying to get the pumpkin and accessories for it this year. I wouldn't even get to do these without them in the first place. Okay, to try to keep a long video from getting any longer, I had about 80 different segments that I pulled from my Twitch VODs to make this semi time lapse thing come together. And it was quite a bit more effort than what I was expecting, on top of all the hours carving the pumpkin itself. I'm done rambling. Thank you again. See you later.